one thing that is kind of common these days when it comes to people actually watching Christmas films is Jingle All the Way from 1996. I say it's only somewhat common because usually people want to go for like the truly great ones and the major classics like It's a Wonderful Life and Christmas Carol. But even though Jingle All the Way is not a landmark, it's not a masterpiece, this movie didn't even really get good reviews when it first came out. I do think that this movie is not as bad as the vast majority back in 1996 thought. And maybe it's just because I grew up with this film. I've seen it countless times over the years. I don't think that Jingle All the Way is that bad of a film. If people out there don't like Jingle All the Way, okay, fine. I understand where they're coming from. But it's the scathing reviews and it's the hatred that this movie gets and got from way back when that I always thought, what's so freaking terrible about it, right? So Jingle All the Way pokes fun at consumerism during Christmas. Because frankly, that's one of the biggest drawbacks in terms of Christmas season is consumerism. You know, once every so often, there's a toy or a product that is so unbelievably popular that kids just cannot live without, and it causes such a major ruckus between the grown-ups. In Jingle All the Way, of course, you know, it's a fictional film. It's about this superhero. He's kind of like a Superman sort. His name is Turbo Man. Super duper popular, and the movie stars Arnold Schwarzenegger as this workaholic father who is trying to get the very last doll of Turbo Man for his son. You know, everywhere he goes in the Twin Cities, they're completely sold out. They have other things that are tied into the show, like Turbo Man's sidekick, Booster. There's quite a few of those, but the actual Turbo Man himself, they don't have. While Schwarzenegger is on the hunt for it, he meets up with this divorced mailman who's played by Sinbad, and he's also on the hunt for Turbo Man. The clash between Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad, it's freaking hilarious, okay? Like, you have Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's the straight man. You have Sinbad, who's this crazy guy who annoys Arnold to no end. And they both have the same goal, but oddly enough, Sinbad, he's pretty sympathetic in the movie. He doesn't really have a whole lot of villainous qualities. It's just that he's so down on his luck with trying to be a good father and delivering alimony and, you know, just all that kind of stuff. So we can't really hate the Sinbad character very much. You know, one could want both guys to get Turbo Man for their respective children. So there's that. But then there's the subplot that deals with Phil Hartman and his son. Phil Hartman is this divorced swinger, next door neighbors to Arnold Schwarzenegger and his wife, who's Rita Wilson, and his son. He really tries to move in on Rita Wilson, and he really annoys Arnold Schwarzenegger to no end, but Phil Hartman annoying Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's more justified, and that's more villainous than the Sinbad character, who's just somewhat down on his luck with everything. While the movie's going on, there's little really funny, explosive scenes of just high-energy laughter, and, you know, does the movie seem pretty freaking silly that, you know, these two grown men are looking all over Minneapolis and St. Paul trying to find a toy for their kid? Sure, that does seem pretty outlandish, but, you know, how many parents out there have gone through all of that? And because this movie was back in 1996, ordering things online it wasn't as popular back then. And of course, this day and age, you have Amazon, you have all these different things like eBay. So it's a lot easier for that stuff. But, 1996, different time. And when you look at some of the things that came beforehand, like, as I said, the Cabbage Patch Kids and Power Rangers, you can kind of see a little bits of reality tied into this film. But, of course, this movie isn't a masterpiece or anything. But I do think that this movie is good enough to recommend to people. And frankly, if people out there don't like it, I totally understand. I just simply don't agree with people that trash this film. Do I personally like this film and think that it's underrated? Yes. So in that regard alone, I'll give Jingle All the Way 3 stars out of 4.